Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sushree Sasmita Pati, Assistant Professor, School of Sanskrit, Gangadhar Merit University, Sambalpur, Odisha. And my topic is theories of Dana in Vyasa Smriti. And just to introduce you in a very short time, that Smriti literature considers one of the famous literature in Sanskrit society and Sanskrit literature, which actually talks about the society and human beings and human behavior. One of the rarest and very uncommon Smriti is Vyasa Smriti, which has four edition of books available currently, and it has multiple verses, but every versions or every editions of book has a very different versions. And the current versions which I have consulted or I have taken, reference for, has 241 verses into this. Now let's moving ahead to the next topic of discussion is dana. What is exactly the dana? What we discuss about the dana? So now in Smritis and Yagyavalka Smriti, they actually discuss about the rituals and the niyama and the why the purpose of dana. In that particular evidence, this Skanda Purana, which is one of the famous Purana, where they are saying that the dana should be given 10% of the total income of a human being. So in a year, if you are incoming something, it has to be the 10% of that particular total income has to be donated. Now the Medhatithi is actually pointing out, the Medhatithi commentator is the commentator of Manusmriti. He's saying that dana should not be given just like that. And the dana which is given without chanting the mantras or the faith or the belief is exactly not the dana. It will never be considered as a dana if you don't have belief and shraddha and faith. And then in addition in other shastras that dana should be considered or it should be classified into three types as a nitya, naimittika and kamya. Nitya, which needs to be performed every day. Naimittika, which needs to be performed on special occasions, like just like today we are donating items or assets or property and money to the people, to the poor people, needy people during our anniversaries, birthdays and etc. Probably those kind of special occasion. Kamya, this is a peculiar kind of a kamya, kamya dana, which has an expectation of something in return. So while you are donating your kanya dana, you are donating your girl to someone's family, you are expecting that they should treat your daughter in a better way, in a best possible way. So and similarly when you are procreating a child, so you are expecting that your child should take care of you in the later stage. So that kind of a thing which you are expecting in the later stage of your life or in the post donation, when you are expecting something out of that donated amount, that is something kamya dana. Now, dhyana discussed in Vyasa has four types of document I have gathered here. What is the definition of dana? They are saying money which is earned, which is, which has been earned with the proper way, has to be donated in everyday life, and that is the proper utilization of that particular amount. A rich person can be a rich person unless but it cannot be a donor unless he uses that particular wealth in the purpose of a dana. So without the donation, earning or a property cannot have a meaningful justification. Similarly, what is the prayojana or the purpose of dana? They are saying yadi nama na dharmaya na kamaya na kirtaye yat parityajya kantavyam tad dhanam na kim na diyate. He's asking question, saying that a person who is earning the money but not utilizing it, just keeping it with just like that in the almirah or in the locker, then if the money is not used for dana, for dharma, or for fulfilling the desire, or for enhancing the fame, then what will you do after leaving this money, after your death, when you're leaving this money in this earth? What is the purpose of it? Why can't you donate that amount? It should be. So there is no justification of dana. There is no justification of a meaningful property if you are not donating it or utilizing it in performing dana or in using for your own achievements or in desires. That is another thing. Who should be a donor? That is another big question people's comes to the mind. Not everyone could be a donor. Why? Because just by mere donating the money, he cannot or she cannot be a donor. He has to have the intention. Similarly, just like by speaking, person cannot be a speaker. Just by holding a knife, a person cannot be a bodyguard. Similarly, no one can be a donor just by donating the money. And it is very rare to find a donor in this world. Very rare. So we need to develop that particular quality of donation within ourselves to be a donor and justify that position, by analyzing it, by developing that particular intention or understanding the requirement of poor people. Now, who could be the gold receiver? Now, there is a very many few moments, many moments where donor asks themselves before donating the money whether I'm giving this money and whether it is I'm giving to a suitable person, whether this money is being utilized in the proper way. That kind of question may comes to the mind. At that point of time, they are saying that Maharshi Vyasa is speaking that there are two kinds of a receiver in this world, and he is specifying to the category of Brahmana, saying the person or the Brahmana who knows the Veda or who practices the tapasya. Now, either way, if you give dana to this two kind of receiver, that is justified or that is purposeful, has a useful things. But if a Brahmana who doesn't have a knowledge of Veda or the Shastra, rather make fool of people, doesn't even chant the mantra, doesn't even understand the mantras, if person donates money or property or assets to those kind of foolish Brahmins, that may destroy the intensity and authenticity of dana. So don't this is a message from Vyasa to every single donor that they must be very careful while donating this amount to the suitable candidate. Similarly, when we teach in the class, that is the Vidyadana. Now, Vidyadana is also another thing, another piousness, another beautiful thing happened in our life. Now, as a teacher, you must see who is the suitable person, who is the knowledgeable person to receive the original dana, or to receive this Vidya Rupi Dhyana, and to, circulate this, to pass on this particular dana to the next generation or to the students of him in the near future. So that kind of parampara teaches us that what kind of dana needs to be given, to whom to given, and who is the person, suitable person to be called as a donor. Now, in the impact of dana, Maharshi Vyasa is speaking that he consider a donor as a stingy person and a non-donor as a really good person, because the donor who donates the amount basically creates and bank balance for the next birth or for the next few generation of his own family. But the non-donor, what he does, he leaves that amount in this earth, and when the next birth happens or his next generation never gets any kind of money or assets or prosperity in the next future time or during his own birth or next birth. But when it comes to a donor, it goes without saying that, the dana, it goes for eternity. And this dana, that too specifically, if dana is given without asking, that has the very good impact on the family as well as that person's punya phala, up for the after death thing. Now, another thing Maharshi Vyasa is saying, the impact or the fruits of donation depends on the person who receives it. So the donation given to a father has 100 times impacts than the normal one, but the donation given to a mother has 1,000 times impacts than the normal one. Similarly, donation given to sister has 1 lakh more impact, but brother, it has important eternal impact. So the fruits of dana and the impact of dana always depends on what kind of receivers or you are donating, and their ashirvachana is also very important. Not give to you are donating money, but what about their own their blessings? So in the shastras they have decided, they have discussed, they have advised that a donor should must find a suitable receiver, because the moment they give the dana, that very moment, if the receiver is a good guy, is a truthful guy, is a dharmic person, his or her blessings automatically comes to the punya phala side of the donor. And because of that punya phala, this donor becomes, yuga jayi or yashashvi, or a dharmic person, or he receives happiness, his family receives prosperity. So all this donation, it makes usually a good impact if it is given to a proper receive. That is the best thing they have said. Now, uh, this dana in general has a lot of impact. Vyasa Smriti, which is written by Maharshi Vyasa. Maharshi Vyasa is the same person who has also written or authored the Puranas, and the Mahabharata is the same person who has written this Vyasa Smriti. Interestingly, he has discussed this kind of a thing. He has not specified what kind of donation should be given to whom, because he has generally assumed that even if any kinds of donation should be given to a person, it depends that whom you are giving, with what intention you are giving, and if you are giving, whether this donor is having sufficient amount, is advising, he is discussing that you try to give the donation within your capacity, not without your capacity. So you should give the donation, but you must look after your own well-being, your own fulfillment, your own desires and requirements, and then do the donation to other people, needy people. And dana is one of the basic example of you know fulfillment of this cycle, and managing this society, and balancing out this ecosystem. That is another kind of thing. So it consider every single aspect of food, or money or property, everything, it can be included into part of dana. I am thankful to the WEBS conference, international conference, for giving us this particular platform and to let us speak about our paper. Thank you so much.